Welcome back. Today marks day 2 of the government shutdown. The Senate once again failing to pass the dueling short-term funding bills yesterday. Senators now are not scheduled to vote again until tomorrow afternoon, Friday afternoon, in observance of Yom Kippur today. The Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought told House Republicans that the administration will begin furloughing federal employees within the next day or two. I spoke with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, yesterday here on this program. Watch. Speaker, can you assess what you're expecting in terms of the job cuts and how severe they could be?
While a shutdown is very damaging for real American people who depend upon government services, it can provide an opportunity to downsize the scope and the scale of government, which is something that we've always wanted to do. And so in a way, Chuck Schumer has now handed the keys to the kingdom to the executive branch under President Trump to do some things that we would not otherwise be able to do because we would never get Democrat votes for them.
Joining me now is Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. How would you assess the shutdown right now that we're in day 2? How long do you expect this to go on?
Maria, it's good to be back with you. It's really unclear how long this is going to go because Chuck Schumer has given the keys of leadership to the radical left in the Democrat Party. That's the real issue here. The CR, which House Republicans passed to keep the government open, is the same continuing resolution that Democrats have voted for 13 times before. The only reason why they are now trying to demonstrate that they're tough is because Donald Trump is actually instituting his agenda across America, and it's the radical left that's opposed to it. I would assume if you talk to normal Democrats in the streets of America, they're happy with the fact that the border is secure. They're happy with the fact that we are actually being serious with the people's business. The radical left doesn't like it, and so here we are. This thing could, I think it probably goes into next week, could be longer. It's really up to Chuck Schumer. Does he want to actually put the American people first, or does he want to put his leadership in the Senate and his future political prospects first? Well, that's the question here.
I mean, we'll see if, the military will miss their October 15th salary. We'll see if the federal worker payment on October 20th also goes by and people miss that. Then it's going to start really hitting people. Right now, markets don't care about it. We're waiting. But the longer this goes, the more impactful it will be. I will say it's not all Democrats. When you had 2 Democrats that voted with Republicans, and John Fetterman was one of them, he told me on Sunday, when I spoke with him on Sunday Morning Futures, that he would not support a shutdown. Watch this.
It is always, always wrong to shut our government down. That is a core responsibility. I'm always going to vote against those things. And if it's the Republican side or now it's our side, especially with the kinds of chaos that we are facing after Kirk, and now there's a Cat 5 storm that might hit our nation too. Now, and you're willing to threaten us down. I was the only Democrat voting against that. And now that CR was the same CR from the Biden administration as well, too.
Right.
For me, I'm a big believer of if you want to change the policies, win elections. And that's really the way democracy works.
So what's going on in the Democrat Party with your colleagues on the left? Is it the AOC and Bernie Sanders' arm of the party who's driving this?
It absolutely is. It's the radical left, Maria. They want to reinstall health care for illegal aliens. That's what they want. They want to spend billions of dollars more. That's what they want. And the truth of the matter is, Donald Trump is president. Republicans control both chambers. We're not going to do that. We're going to put the American people first. We're not going to put illegal aliens first. And that's why we're in this situation. John Fetterman said it clearly. Yes, this is the same CR they voted for many, many times. And now they're choosing not to support the same measure because they're not getting their way when it comes to policy, specifically around illegal immigration and illegal aliens.
Yeah, but
that's what's going on.
Congressman, your colleague from California, Ro Khanna, was with me earlier this week, and he actually disputed that. Watch this.
In terms of health care, the reality is they're just not being honest. The amount of money that actually is going towards people who are undocumented is such a small portion of the Medicaid cuts or the Affordable Care Act, if at all. And so we can argue that point, but the reality that even the vice president would acknowledge, that anyone who looks at the numbers will acknowledge, is 90 to 95% of the funding we're talking about is talking about funding for American citizens.
Congressman, you've looked at the numbers.
I have, and Ro Khanna is not being actually genuine with everyone. There is the fact that in a lot of our hospitals all across the country, we have uncompensated care that goes towards illegal aliens. And who pays for that, Maria? It's paid in the reimbursement rates that go through Medicaid. It's paid, unfortunately, in the reimbursement rates that go through major medical, Affordable Care Act insurance policies, worker-sponsored insurance policies. They pay for that as well. And so when people are seeing healthcare premiums go up, in part it is because of uncompensated care for illegal aliens in the United States. And Donald Trump and Republicans have been clear. We're not going to do this anymore. It's not right for the American people.
Well, I mean, I don't understand how they have ID. I mean, look at what happened this week. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol working with ICE to arrest more than 120 illegal immigrants during a 3-day highway operation. So the troopers revealed that they found some of the truckers with New York State issued IDs, but in the name line, it says, quote, no name given. Again, New York's DMV actually confirmed that these licenses are authentic and issued under existing procedures, Congressman. So how do you issue a license with no name given? You're leading a federal crackdown on illegal alien truckers following that deadly crash in Florida where an illegal who could not speak English, who could not read road signs, had a commercial license from California. How is this happening?
Maria, this is the insanity of the radical left. Kathy Hochul, Gavin Newsom, you name the Democrat governor, they allow this to happen. And it's crazy. It makes no sense. Look, Americans, most of us get licenses at 16 or at 18, depending on your state. You're not allowed to walk into the DMV, and when they ask you for your first name, you say no name given, or you say you don't have one. They're not going to issue the license. But for an illegal alien, you allow that to occur, let alone giving them a CDL, when you haven't even seen if they actually understand our language and understand our laws. This is crazy. But these are the sanctuary policies of these radical left blue states.
Wow.
And I think people need to understand very clear, this isn't about independence in our country. This is about the radical left. They issue these licenses because they value illegal aliens more than the American people.
Unbelievable. Now, Congressman, during an oversight committee hearing, you and Democrat Rashida Tlaib got into it after you called her out for using dangerous and harmful rhetoric against Republicans. Let's take a look.
One of the things that I know in every abuse of power that, we let President Trump and the administration get away with in D.C., it will be replicated. And I think it's really important. We need to stand up against this fascist takeover. That's not a bad word. It's a fact.
Do I look like a member of the Third Reich to you, Ms. Tlaib?
Please,
is that what I look like to you?
You're the one taking your voting card.
Is that what you think? Is that what you think? Is that what you think?
No, that's unethical.
I think it's radical and I think it's insane. And I'll respect everything that you say. But to say something like that to myself and a lot of my colleagues is way out of line. It's way out of line.
What happened there, Congressman?
Rashida Tlaib was, frankly, being very irresponsible, especially in the light of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, trying to call Republicans fascists simply because we want law and order in our streets. If you actually talk to the D.C. mayor and the D.C. City Council, they actually say that crime is down almost 40% in the nation's capital, in part because Donald Trump has surged National Guard and other federal authorities into the nation's capital. That's a good thing. That's a safe Washington, D.C. But because the radical left does not have an argument for their stupid policies which make people less safe, they resort to this kind of dehumanizing language, calling us fascists, which we now know puts lives at risk. Charlie Kirk is not with us because of their radicalism. And so, yeah, I'm standing up to it. Republicans are standing up to it. Look, you could disagree with our policies all you want, but we're not going to stand by and watch you dehumanize us and put our lives at risk, put our family lives at risk. Enough is enough, Maria. Got to stand up to this craziness.
I mean, look, we have a whole montage of Democrats calling Republicans and supporters of President Trump and calling President Trump fascist, Nazi. I mean, Joe Biden did it, Obama did it, Democrats did it throughout the political campaign. You know, I mean, it's got to stop, this rhetoric. And you are obviously seeing weak minds, you know, take that and act on it. The shooter, the alleged shooter in the Charlie Kirk assassination, had a bullet with the word fascist edged on it. So where did he get that? You know, I've got to call out John Fetterman again, because John Fetterman from Pennsylvania has been, you know, really responsible about this. Here's what he said about that.
I'm not going to switch, you know, but I'm just going to be an independent voice in the Democratic Party. I'm not going to be afraid if people, I mean, and if there are groups attacking a Democrat, you know, the last one in Pennsylvania, then that's, to me, that's part of the problem, you know, in our party. And if you want a Democrat that's going to call people Nazis or fascists or all these kinds of things, well, I'm not going to be that guy. You know, independent thinking and views, wherever that I happen to believe the truth, regardless if it's the Republican or the Democratic voice, you know, what I think is the truth in this. Now, in this truth right now, it's firmly on Israel through this. And it's always wrong to shut our government down. And that's where my voice is.
So, Congressman, I mean, you look at AOC right now, who's been leading this, you know, fascism charge, and she apparently is getting ready to run for president in 2028.
Well, first of all, I would say I hope she is not successful. It would not be good for the United States of America. Second, the only thing that she has left is to call names and to disparage. It's not going to work because she doesn't have policies. She doesn't have ideas, and really nobody on the radical Democratic left has ideas that's going to be able to put the American people in the best spot going forward. It's easy to foment emotions and to foment anger. That's easy. What's hard is having real policies based on common sense that work day in, day out. When the cameras are off, the American people's lives are better. That's what's hard. And that's why they continue to increase the rhetoric, because if they actually talked about their policies, people look at it and say, well, that's just stupid. It makes no sense. That's not going to work. So they have to continue to increase the rhetoric if they think they're going to be successful politically. And that's what's got to stop. I mean, look, if you have a bad idea, you have a bad idea. That's on you. Don't put people's lives in danger simply because you're trying to get clicks. You want to be on Instagram, you want to be on X, or you want to be on TV. That's what's wrong. And the key thing is, we know that there are people who are not mentally well who are thinking they're doing a good thing. They are not. I mean, look at the congressional baseball shooting. Steve Scalise almost died. Look at what happened at the Dallas ICE facility a week ago, where, you know, you have these Democrats calling ICE agents Gestapo, and then you had some lunatic go and try to shoot up an ICE facility and try to take out officers there. We're talking about real people, real lives. They just want to go home, Maria. Everybody wants to go home. The radical left needs to stop.
Well, people certainly want to see solutions, and it's not a solution to see wide open borders, you know, massive spending, you know, boys and girls sports. All of these things were, you know, a hard no from voters back in November. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thank you so much. Byron Donalds joining us this morning.